Sure. The mission of the Lyon Township DDA is to assist the public with crime development efforts, to stimulate residential, commercial, and industrial growth, and create a vibrant community where people live, work, and play.
Thank you. And Amy, if you want to do a roll call?
Canfield?
Here.
Gussie?
Here.
Casey?
Here.
Aiken?
Here.
Puccini?
Here.
Sorry, Ruffin?
Here. Okay, approval of the agenda. I need a motion for that, please.
Motion to approve the agenda for the special meeting tonight.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so this meeting is being recorded. The audio will be available for anyone who requests it. We do realize that the township website did not have the meeting posted. That was a complete mistake on our end, and we apologize. We definitely want people to come, so if anybody can come, I'm sure we're gonna be here till 7 or 8 o'clock, so they're welcome to come at any time. Tonight? Midnight?
No.
So yeah, so if somebody doesn't know about it, they're welcome to join us at any time. It's supposed to be an informal discussion of what we want moving forward in 2027, priority projects, and interests. This time there is a call to public, but like I said, the whole meeting is kind of a dialogue between everybody. So if anybody wants to start with a call to public, go ahead and start with a call to the public.
Oh, hell, how was usually first to open my mouth? I'm curious, should I have a mic so everybody can hear? That's one thing. The other thing is, what is your purpose of the DDA? All downtown? Everything? Because don't know why you guys aren't complaining that this AI center's going in. Because once that noise starts, you don't think these people that come here to eat are gonna come after they hear the noise and feel the vibrations in this place? Your businesses are gonna suffer.
So are
You know, I don't know why nobody's speaking up. I called the Board of Education, said, well, they don't get involved in political balls. Bouncing balls, whatever. But, you know, I'm surprised at least the downtown development's not complaining about this AI center going in. You know, I know you're not gonna see it, but you're sure in the hell gonna hear it and feel it. Because I don't know if any of you know what infrasound is, but you better look it up. It's a less than 20 megahertz sound that your ear cannot pick up. And it vibrates your internal organs. People living in these centers have gotten insomnia, nausea, nosebleeds, and even fainting that affects them because they live so close to these things. And I'm sure you're gonna lose a hell of a lot of business once this gets built and around, if it does, because you're not gonna have businesses. Are all you people business owners, or are you just volunteers, or what?
Both.
I can't hear you.
She said both.
Both.
Both. Because none of you have been at the meetings to complain about it. I mean, hell, are you happy about it? Nobody, you can't comment either, right? I know that, I'm sure, I've talked to a couple other ones. You guys are, she didn't even know there was gonna be an AI center? Because I've talked to a couple of owners and they're afraid of reprisals from this township hall.
Which is a bigger problem.
Speaking their mind, you know, so I don't know how you guys can sit back idle, being business owners and supposed to represent, and what was the word on that letter? Let me see your letter real quick. I just read it. Your pledge, create a vibrant community. Well, you kids vibrant, and you ask goodbye, because once this gets built, once it starts with the construction.
Please keep it cordial. We won't have swearing allowed at the meeting, so I apologize, but please no swearing.
Okay, what did I say? ASS or what?
Yes. I'm just
Sorry.
trying to set the tone for them.
Mule, okay? But I can't see why you're sitting idle when your business is about to go down the toilet. If this thing gets built, 6 years of construction, You know you can't get through downtown New Hudson at rush hour. Takes 4 or 5 lights to get through because of the traffic. What do you think it's gonna be like when the semis get here and the traffic? That's all I gotta say. I just don't know why you guys are sitting idle and not open your mouths, especially if you're an owner, unless you're afraid to replace us from this place.
Thank you. Anybody else wanna start before we get on to the budget?
Hi, so I wanted to bring up something that, occurred over the weekend, I just had some questions about it. So there was an event created by the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce. It was called Rooted in South Lyon. And the objective was to support downtown South Lyon businesses throughout traffic, which of course we all wanna do. My concern is that the primary sponsor was listed as Veris, which I find striking, particularly after their letter last month to threatening to sue the township. I understand today, or yesterday sometime, that it was decided by somebody that the event was canceled. I attempted to contact the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce today to no avail. On the website, it says that the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce is made up of both the South Lyon DDA and the Lyon Township DDA. And I hope there will be another event in place to support the downtown businesses, but I really would love to know who authorized taking a check from Veris, because that felt incredibly contradictory. So if anybody could provide any insight, I think that's important, because there were a lot of people, including myself, that were very upset to see that.
Okay, so, the Lyon Area DDA is not made up of the, I'm sorry, the Lyon Chamber is not made up of the DDAs. There are members, maybe, on their board. I don't know if we have any members on our board who are also on their board. I don't know.
Okay, wait, right there,
But
because.
we don't, let me finish. So we are, the only affiliation that we as the DDA have is we are a member of the Lyon Area DDA. We don't, sorry, we don't control what they do. We had no foresight. We were not asked to be a part of that event. So, I can tell you when I saw it, I was quite shocked as well. So, so I think like, we don't know. We don't know. The only thing I can say is probably the director, they were seeking, funds and they got a sponsorship and they were like yippee and didn't have the foresight to decline it or think about the consequences. So that's, but yeah, we are not, the only affiliation we have is we are a member. We don't control them and we don't have, we didn't approve that.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, well, I just wanna read you, for more information, this is on the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce.
That Lyon
That's
Area
different
Chamber
chamber.
is gone, that's extinct.
What?
That does not exist, the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce. That's the old one.
It's on the
The website's
website.
still
The
up.
Greater Brighton Chamber of Commerce is the one that's hosting the event, the one that we belong to.
Yes, but under their page, they still have a spot for the Lyon Area Chamber, that's a
That's that
subsidiary
same
of it.
logo.
It's still on
Logo.
there.
So who
And
is it?
The Lyon Area Chamber is a subsidiary of the Brighton Area Chamber of Commerce. Because the Lyon area can't afford their own staff, they're not large enough to support it, so they work under the Brighton Area Chamber umbrella. So I would contact the Brighton Area Chamber and ask for who their point of contact is for the Lyon area.
Then you guys need to
The
get your
point of contact is
information.
Karen's story.
You know,
You can contact her.
all these things are out there, your name's on this.
Absolutely, yes, they talk
And I
about.
would not want my name out there on something that's no longer doing anything or having anything, so that you don't get called on the carpet for something that you didn't do.
Well, all the small businesses are also listed on there. So by what you're saying, that would implicate all the small businesses in that. So again, the Lyon Area Chamber created an event and went to all the businesses, collected everything we did not. So regardless, we have nothing to do with it. So I would contact them and express your concern about that.
Okay, well,
So you're saying this doesn't exist, the Lyon Area Chamber?
It is confusing. I will admit that. This is not my doing.
No.
So I want to explain it. There used to be a Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce that was its own organization. It had its own board of directors, its own bylaws. After COVID, membership declined, and they were not able to sustain that organization financially anymore. So what they did was they reached out to the Brighton Area Chamber, which has a large base, and the Brighton Area Chamber Directors Board now oversees, I believe it's Putnam or
It's like five different
Like
small communities.
5 different
between
small
Putnam
communities.
Whitmore
And so
Lake.
what they do is they have their staff and they appoint people. So I believe Karen Story is the point person for the Lyon Area Chamber.
Karen's the director of the Brighton Chamber.
Oh, the Brighton Chamber, okay.
Yes.
So she oversees that whole thing. They have a point person that they assign to this area. They have a point person that they assign to Brighton area, a point person that applies to each different community. So I don't know who that point person is. My name's on there because they advertise business in general for all sorts of different things. So they say, do you have a business in the Lyon area? Contact Amy Allen as the DDA director and I can answer some questions for you. But I don't deal with programming for their organization. We just have a membership.
So is it still valid and up and running as an ongoing concern?
Yes, but they're under the Brighton Area Chamber, liability, staffing, everything else, but they still have their own name so people can specify this area.
well, I mean, this is what it was posted. It was posted from Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, because they have their one point person that deals with projects in this area, and they refer to it as the Lyon Area Chamber. But for management and staffing, it's under the Brighton Area Chamber umbrella.
Are you confusing that with the Lyon Area DDA like I was earlier?
No, it's
No,
listed as
that's-
Lyon Area Chamber.
Well,
No, I'm asking if she's, doesn't know the line between
there,
the
then
chamber and the
someone
DDA.
here that knows these people need to get that straightened up and get that off of there.
That is not our responsibility. I mean, I get it, but
So
there's,
you're gonna allow them to advertise things that are adversely gonna affect our area?
I mean,
Yeah,
they're not
they're
affiliated with us. We can't control what they say or do.
Nobody approves it, they can put up with the hell of it they
Well,
want.
it's like us as the DDA. If we pulled in the chamber to do something and,
So then you approve this to go online then?
I don't know, did we approve, no, we
The
didn't.
event is in South Lyon, it's not.
Who's the
I
administrator
mean,
of the
it's got
site?
our name all over it and we can't do, I guess that's kinda like
How
what
do we
we're
not
doing
know
here.
where
That
Amy
flyer
Name's
doesn't have
all
the
over
Lyon
it.
Amy,
Township
where are you
DDA
looking?
on there.
Amy, where are you looking so I can,
I copied it off a post that was on Facebook, and it says right at the top of the page that I copied, so I can show you. Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce, and then there's rooted in South Lyon, downtown South Lyon, support the small business, hashtag community first, there's 3 or 4. And yes, it did come up with a bubble at the very top under Brighton, but it's all clearly posted through that area
we are
chamber.
not the Lyon Area Chamber of
And
Commerce.
if you go to that, this is what you see, and
But
you
Amy,
see
we are
this.
not the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce. I
So-
think you're confusing the DDA with the Chamber of Commerce. We are,
On
it's two different
on the
It's-
entities.
website page for the
So
Lyon
in-
Area Chamber, if you scroll down, it
Internet
says for
for-
more information, contact
Oh, I
Amy
see.
Allen and Kim Rivera.
Okay, so
So,
that's
so
it.
in an effort just to, so we can keep things moving, appreciate the concern and share the concern. If our name's being used out there associated with
Yeah.
things we're not aware of, we will absolutely look into that. Understand that the Lyon Area Chamber of Commerce is not something that we are part of, we're part of it, but we don't control it in any way, we are a member. I hear your concern, I share your
You
concern.
have no input either?
but
Well,
as a
what I'm
member,
saying-
we're asking you to do something about it, because
And that,
that post seriously hurt
understood,
a function that could help,
understood, and
citizens,
this is not an argument
because-
with that.
and they're not deaf either. They should have known that accepting that in our area was probably not a good idea.
Understood.
They've taken the post
So
down.
they've
Yeah,
taken,
they did.
but
That's
we will
the
definitely
end.
look into the next steps
Mhm.
on how we can address that. I hear your concern, share your concern, and it's something we will absolutely look into. We don't have control over the post, we didn't approve the post. as just kind of a close it out. It was not something that came before us. We said, yep, we want that, we want to approve it. Was not anything that ever happened. But understand your concern, and Chair, we'll absolutely look into it. Thank you for bringing it up.
So what would be done then to prevent this happening in the future? Obviously, we can't change things in the past. How can we prevent this from happening again? So that things get just randomly posted? Do we need to have a request to the Brighton Chamber of Commerce indicating that anything to do with South Lyon needs to be approved by the?
We are not South Lyon though, we have nothing to do with what's
Okay,
approved in
Lyon.
South
However,
Lyon.
does somebody somewhere here, I mean, everything's shifting and passing the buck. Does anybody here have the ability for oversight of what's posted on that site?
Only if it's posted in relation to events that we are specifically sponsoring or running. But events that they do with other businesses, not involving our DDA, we have no control over them posting where they share that site. But if we're sponsoring one of their events, like we work with them on offering training sometimes,
Right.
then we can see the flyer, we can determine who's on there, we can determine what it says, and make sure that we're in agreement. But if we're not sponsoring that event, we have no control over that.
Okay, but I guess what we're saying is maybe because you do deal with them on things, that you could call them up and say, hey, that was a big mistake, and you guys need to get it corrected.
And as Mike said, we hear your feedback and we will take that into consideration, and we will definitely discuss this moving forward. The swearing, please,
Yeah,
I address.
you can't have that.
Well, we prefer probably a commitment to do something as opposed to looking into it.
Can I
looking
suggest,
into-
hold on. We're in a 2-minute public comment. You're looking for verification. It's not gonna happen. Please submit your comments, your 2 minutes, so we can move on with the agenda. That's all I'm asking. This is not a productive conversation right
No,
now. At all.
Apparently not.
The swearing, again,
Yeah.
please.
I just hit them.
I know, but
Well, I've said my piece, I might as well leave because I didn't bring my waiters. Guys don't like get bored, don't give a darn about the damn residents.
Any other public comment before we move on to budget and project discussions? Yes.
I had one question, why this DDA meeting is not being recorded?
It's being recorded audio. It's not being broadcast because it was a brainstorming, informal thinking session. I made that call, and if we have one in the future, we will broadcast it. I feel like having an informal conversation and everybody freely speaking should not be something that I have to completely edit and censor. And if you put that on the internet forever to live, then I need to be very edited and censored.
So CYA.
But with this being a 5 o'clock start time, where a lot of people who would like to attend can't make the meeting, I would think that would be even more reason to record this, so people that are interested and want to know what's going on can watch it.
So the next one will record.
I'm sorry?
The next one will be recorded.
I thought it was agreed all meetings would be recorded, though. I mean, at one point, there was a meeting, I was here, and it said all meetings going forward would be
Right.
recorded.
Correct.
So
Whether it's
we are
informal or formal.
We are doing a voice recording, and somebody who,
It's not
I
the
asked,
same.
I
It's not the same.
understand, and I asked
And
similar
that's not what
questions.
you guys committed to at that meeting.
Would you mind letting me please answer? So, as someone who raises a similar thought, Carissa's heart and spirit was exactly in the right place. The whole purpose of this meeting was to gain a level of transparency and communication and dialogue with community. That's the whole purpose of this. That was the intent of it. So understood and here, and we've talked about it, and absolutely all the meetings going forward will be video recorded. The spirit of it and the reason that it is not video recorded was to just try to have an open community of dialogue. That's why we're sitting down here. That's why we're not sitting up at the podiums. That's why we're trying to garner the
Well, that's great, we can still record
conversation.
it, and the community that isn't able to attend could then be included and feel inclusive in this. By not recording it, there's no inclusivity
It's
for
not
them.
being transparent.
Some people could at least listen to it while they're driving home.
Understood, and we're doing the best we can with what we have right now, and
It
we're
was a
recording
choice.
it, and it's gonna be posted after the meeting.
It was a
correct,
choice.
Amy? It's gonna be available after.
Yes, I will have a link up there for anybody who wants to make it available, whoever wants it available. Email me directly, I will try to figure out how to send the
And it's
link.
open to the public, and we are having it recorded. I know it's not the same.
5 o'clock start, how
I understand
inconvenient.
it's not the same.
Other thing is, and I already talked to Amy about this, but this meeting was not posted on the township's website. You're always directed to go to the township's website for information on meetings. This meeting was not on the township's website. Call it what you want, oversight, whatever. That's wrong. That's a huge red flag. Final thing is in regards to the flyer from Walbridge, asking people to contact the township saying that we want this data center. I want to thank Walbridge for sending this out, because by doing that, we make more people aware of this data center. There's a lot of people out there that still don't know about this. So by sending this out, you're helping us. So thank you for that.
Okay. I just want to, we're gonna be talking about the budget for 2027. And I hope you all are taking into consideration that there has not been a decision on this data center. And if we do get the data center, which we do not want, I hope you understand that. That is gonna make a serious change in what you guys have to work with on that downtown area. We already have a lot of buildings and land that has been sitting vacant for years. And we have now eyesores that are vacant. And it all surrounds the area that is within a half a mile of a data center. Whether it comes out with rainbows and flowers, or it comes out as dirt on our shoes, it is always going to be New Hudson. That's where the data center is. And it is not gonna be pretty down there for 6 to 8 years. So what are we doing in 2027? Are we gonna try to make it look great? Or maybe save our money? Or maybe fundraise to stop this? We can't even get rid of the business on the corner with the White House. I'm sorry, this is like right there for me. It is the gateway to our city, and we have an industrial site. Take this time to get it into commercial property. Do a athletic club there. Do a gathering center with booths for food trucks to come in, but make it appealing. We're looking at Continental Can. Is that even able to be rehabbed and used because it's contaminated? We're ending up with all this contamination in our downtown area. And who's gonna wanna be down there with trucks flying down the road, because they're working long hours down there in Saline. It's not gonna stop at 5 o'clock. And it's probably not gonna stop on the weekends. Guys, think about this. 2-lane road. You're going to hurt our businesses. You're not going to help them with this. And in hurting that, it's an additional hurt on all the houses. I mean, give us an ice cream shop. Give us some reason to go down there. We have 3 restaurants. So happy that the Mexican restaurant put a little patio out in front, so there people can sit there and listen to the hum. They're less than a half a mile from it. What are we doing? We're destroying us instead of making us better. All the money in the world. You could pay for all my taxes, and I still don't want this. It's not going to be good. And if you can't go online and listen to what it sounds like at Dwashniak or someplace out in this state or that state, the information is there, and it's unproven information that they want to give us. And we're supposed to trust it with our futures. So all the money you're going to get to do this down there is not going to help anybody. We're still going to have little New Hudson. And you know what? I think we're all kind of happy with that. I don't think we need to be Farmington Hills or, Royal Oak or whatever. Everybody's fine with it. We don't have the Victorian houses. We have our cute little houses. That's it. That's it. It's not going to be $1 million area. We are what we are, and we're all happy with that. And I do appreciate everything you guys have done to get us this far. And I don't want to see it destroyed. That's my concern.
We don't either.
Really? I don't even want to support the businesses in New Hudson anymore because none of them are supporting the citizens as a consumer.
Well, I think,
That's how I feel about it.
and I think that's a concern as a business owner.
Not a big enough one.
Is that, well,
I mean, you're not
okay,
the only one here.
I'm one person,
Yeah.
and I'm on a board with many other people. And a decision was made by a different board that I have no control over. And so now, the position I'm in is to advocate for you guys. And you may or may not see it, but yeah, I have a stake. I've been here 25 years. I have a stake in this business, and I'm, as Amy stated, I'm a half mile, if that. And if you guys go down, I'm going down. So I'm doing what I can do
You
behind
are.
the scenes.
I'm just talking about the other business
I
owners.
get it, I get it, no, I get
And
it,
if
but
they're worried about retaliation, we obviously have a bigger problem in our community with local government if they're afraid to speak out because of retaliation. What in the heck is that saying to us?
that's
What are
money
they
does.
doing as a government? If the local businesses are so afraid to speak up because of retaliation, but they're not fearful of my retaliation of not spending money down there because they won't support me as a 20-some-year citizen of this area and supporting businesses.
We're in I guess the pickle that we're in is that, we don't have an opportunity to make the change. You guys show up here, we can hear you, we do hear you. But we have no,
There is
We
one
have-
person on your board that had a big influence on this coming forward.
we're
Let's
aware
talk
of
about
that.
the elephant in the
we're
room.
aware of that, we're aware of that.
And I think if the businesses felt comfortable speaking out, that it could make a difference. Because everybody that doesn't speak out for fear does give the impression that you don't care. Or, that you're for it.
Well,
And
that's,
maybe maybe the DDA should put on a big thing about the data center and invite everybody down, and maybe we can have a hoedown about getting rid of it. I don't know. I am just so frustrated with this process.
I am too.
You have all these people saying no, and yet we are still sitting here farting around with it.
So.
Instead of just saying no.
I was told that it was a private sale and the DDA had nothing to do with it. That's what I was told after the deal went through.
A private sale.
Sale, that property is,
We were told, I was told
What are you talking
specifically.
about? What
I'm
is a
just,
private sale?
I'm just telling you, it's a private sale. It was a sale by Walbridge It was
Oh.
a private sale.
Oh, you're talking about
So we
the,
had nothing to do with it. Then it happens, and now all of a sudden, all heck breaks loose, and now it's like, whoa, 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 what just happened?
But Paula,
So
the minute that,
now we have to backtrack and try to figure out,
the minute that property was sold for this purpose, or any purpose, Adorno should have stepped down. And completely been out of this room. And when it was all done, he wanted to be invited back, that would have been okay. But the minute that somebody that has this much power in this town to pay for things, and then comes in the door with an opportunity that's the golden goose, and nobody's, I truly believe that you guys are uncomfortable sometimes having conversations about this, because he is here on that board. And you should have been able to speak and not apologize for what you said, and have him say, the lawyer
yeah,
heard about it, knew about it. You have a voice, and you all should be able to use that voice for or against it, and let us know what that voice is, so we can make our decisions.
what voice do you want to hear? I mean, I'm not saying that sarcastic, I'm genuinely.
I
like-
wanted all of you to be able to say,
You opposed it.
we oppose this, and get it out there.
I oppose it, and I was not part of the board who voted for it.
See, we
And that
don't know
upsets
that.
me, because it was brought to us, but we didn't really know, and it was in a meeting, it just kind of, Brian presented it, it was read to the board, but we were like, oh, okay, we didn't really think about what that was or what it meant.
Somebody knew what it was back in early of '25, FOIA.
Yes,
Well,
FOIA.
yes.
It's all been going on for a lot longer
Yes.
than you presented to the public.
then maybe everybody needs to start asking more questions.
And if someone on the board is part of this,
Well, there
and
was
he didn't
yes.
share with the DDA, that's very bad judgment as a team.
Well, I'm curious, I'll ask you, I'll just direct this instead of talking to you like you're not here. So, you were having conversations with people in June of last year about the data center, but did not reveal to any of us what was happening. So, was there a reason that you didn't share it with us?
There was nothing in writing from Veris at that moment.
But you were talking to them.
But you were talking about it.
I talked to a lot of people.
Oh, okay, we're gonna go that way.
This was a secret backdoor.
Look, the application, the cover sheet says data center all over it.
Said Project
No, it didn't.
No, oh,
No,
I looked at it
you had
today.
to go halfway down the first paragraph.
Very front page.
Previous to
Yeah.
the minutes, you didn't disclose to your cohorts on the DDA
You called it
that this
private.
was what it was. You did not
All right.
have transparency with your own
Hey,
people on the
can
board.
I bring something up? I thought this was a call to the
Yeah.
public, not engaging the
Yes.
public.
We
I
can't
take
start
offense to all
engaging
this.
it.
I'm gonna
I would
suggest
like
that
to
we,
move on
I'm gonna
to the
suggest that
budget.
we cancel this meeting, since it's not public, it's not televised, it's not been
That'd be good.
notified.
Please do.
And we reschedule it for another
Please
time.
do.
Lawyer's not here.
Please
No,
do.
I would like to know what
I have
our
no problem
plan
talking
is.
to you.
Great.
Here.
That's
There's a
the best
motion
thing
on
to
the
do.
table to
Cancel the
cancel the
meeting.
meeting and reschedule until we can have proper notice and discussion.
I don't
Is
think.
there a
Or
second?
you can notify the public on the township's website.
And by the way, Robin, I agree with you, this wasn't posted, I agree with, look,
Good.
you make valid points, 5 o'clock, not posted, I get it. I asked the same questions, and I don't think anybody did it with malintent, by the
I
way.
appreciate your support on that issue. I appreciate it.
Got it. Because I almost made the mistake, and wasn't gonna be here till 6, so.
Is anybody gonna talk about that?
Well,
Us talk about that the whole time.
I kinda wanted to know what we're doing
Amy,
next year.
can you please let them speak, for goodness sakes? Everybody, please let them make a decision so we can move on. Thank you.
They weren't though, they were talking amongst themselves.
Yeah, so, well, and
That
so
is
I think,
All right, okay.
Talk amongst
so
ourselves.
I think that the idea, the idea of the meeting tonight was to talk in good faith about the budget, be open, have public comment in relation to the budget. Like, believe me, I'm not shutting anybody down, we know the comments, there's nothing, like, this is not in our purview to step up and say or do anything about it. I'm suggesting if we're in agreement and the public is in line with it, meaning that in agreement with, I'd like to proceed with us discussing the budget for 2027. Just from the perspective of, we can't just go back in the circle. We agree, we hear it. I'm not shutting anybody down by any stretch of the imagination. But if we are gonna be here, then we're not gonna be able to execute what the agenda is, which means we won't have a choice. And that's not what I want. I wanna be transparent, have conversation, and have a dialogue with the community about our 2027 budget.
So
We need to close the current
Yeah,
motion,
we need to
and I
close
would
the
like to make a motion that it's closed. I don't see anyone seconding, so can we, if no one seconds a motion, sorry, it dies, okay. Can I make a motion that we, can close the call to public?
1 second. There is a motion on the table to cancel the meeting. Does that motion have any support?
No.
Okay. And you need a motion or?
I don't know, or you can do it.
Okay, the call to public, is ended.
Oh, I got one,
And then we're moving
No.
on to the budget workshop discussion, where it is open dialogue about the 2027 budget. Would you like to start with CapEx?
I think where I would like to start, as far as the budget goes, is, and I know Lisa's gonna address this too, is having standard procedures and protocols on how we create the budget, so that we all have a better understanding of what that means. I know sometimes when you ask me for things, my budget, like, I don't really know what that means. I don't know what my parameters are, what I'm allowed to do, what I'm not allowed to do. And so I think, creating that kind of a strategy, I don't know what we can do in this session, but I think it's important that we at least get on the table that we all need clarification on how the budget's created, why we create it, how we project, what we wanna project, what we're gonna do as committee members, and what that looks like for our individual budgets and projects.
Just in following that, I know I sent a message out to you guys yesterday, but just, I think moving forward, I'll be working, to define some TDA financial policies and procedures, to include, but not limited to, invoice payment, consultation, project approval, consent agenda, budget creation, approval, adoption, constraints, limitations, changes, amendments, sponsorship, and fundraising. So, if anyone wants to add to that, feel free, but we'll be busy with that for probably the good next 6 to 12, 18 months in that regard. Given we have Raina here, and I appreciate your email to me clarifying, trying to clarify our budget. We have since January, I've been trying to understand our budget. And so I do have a copy of your email, Deb, and your attachment. I guess, Raina, it would be helpful for us if you could just, we're being told we have a fund budget. So if you could explain to us what a fund budget means?
Sure. You have, so the DDA is, the township overall adopts the budget based on activity level. You as the DDA are an activity, so that's why your fund, the DDA fund, is an activity, and so all your expenditures, for example, you could create a line item budget, but you are adopting it in total. So it can go into detail, but basically, it's the total of the expenditures and revenues that you're adopting, and, go ahead.
So in terms of interpretation, just to use 2026 as an example, we have a $5.6 million budget. So what is our limitations in using those funds besides DDA activities? Like, we have a line item budget that we use, and my understanding is that it's for internal purposes, but we as a DDA can use the 5.6 million as approved by the Board of Trustees on approvable DDA projects, correct?
Correct. So, but if you go over that, for example, by, you know, within that 12-month period, if you go over the 5.6 that was approved, then you have to do a budget amendment. Your budget expires every year. So on December 31st every year, it expires. It doesn't continue, you can't just continue any of it over into the following year. It expires. So you can do a budget amendment any day of the year, right up until December, on or before 12/31 of the year end, and make an amendment.
Well, and then it goes to the Board of Trustees, and we've done that, but it's sitting, the board hasn't addressed the amendment. So we have an outstanding amendment that's gone to the board right now.
So for clarification, just what they're referring to is we can only make a recommendation for the budget amendment. The actual amendment has to go to the Board of Trustees for approval.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
So given what I'm being told, again, in the past, our budgets have been around $2 million a year, and this one, over double. As a DDA member, but also as a resident, I am shocked and concerned about sitting on a $5.6 million budget that we can use in any way that we want. And so, again, as we discuss things, my recommendation is that we pull things back significantly. I know, Amy, you had created a document for us kind of indicating our essentials. And so, and that ran, what was that? 1.5, I think, was about what it was, I believe. Yeah, your draft budget comes to about 1.5 without the yellow parts being
Without
put
those
in.
added in.
So again, I think in terms of just our goal for our budget, I'd recommend us looking for something under $2 million.
And just to clarify, and this might be for you, Deb, I'm not sure. So even though we have the fund budget, even though we line item it out, that's somewhat just for our tracking purposes, correct? If there were a line item that we put in there, are we able to add any type of parameters around that, saying that it is intended for this specific use and nothing else? Even though we're using it, even though we are a fund budget, can we identify, let's say, a line item that I wanted $1 million for US flags up and down Grand River. And I want to put some parameters around it, saying that those funds would only be able to use for that unless it went back to the DDA board for approval, which would then go up to the township board for approval, but following the direct chain of command. But even in a fund budget, can we make that type of parameter?
Self-restrict your
Correct.
budget
Correct.
internally?
Specific,
Yeah,
for
why
specific.
not?
And so to me,
You
that
can.
seems like that would have to be our financial policies and procedures, which we don't have any at this point, or very minimal.
Or a vote of the board
and
on
so-
that item.
Okay, and so we can create a specific limitation in the moment, as well as policy that would, further self-govern.
Right, the only time you're going back to the board of trustees is if you're spent more than you have,
Exactly.
The fund budget.
right? I mean,
Right, the 5.6.
Yes.
But if we put together our own financial policies and
and
procedures
that you're
for the
spending it
budget.
within the DDA boundaries, and that you're spending it in accordance with your adopted plan that you've committed to with the county, you know, and
Correct.
all that stuff.
Yeah, so as long as we're following the same parameters that our current budget got approved
Yes,
under,
you do have
we can add
flexibility.
additional
Yes,
parameters to the line items to
And you
essentially
could-
operate as a line item budget
Right.
based on our policy and procedures.
if that's what you want to do, you'd be self-restricting.
Self-restricting, yep, thank
So
you.
we could make those at the DDA board level that wouldn't need any approval at the township level
Right,
for that.
and money you don't, I mean, you don't have to ask them not to spend your money either, right?
Yes, which is.
And
what
that's
we're
what's been
discussing.
happening, you don't spend all your money, and that's fine too. But I assume that's being invested, Rena, am I correct?
Yes.
I mean, what
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't spend gets invested, so it's growing too.
And I think we had a question. If
I have a question
Go
with
ahead.
regards
Yeah.
to that. Okay, because it still is a little in my brain. That, I'm just gonna give a scenario. So let's say with promotions, we have our promotions budget for the year, but it's just a line item sitting there, and then we have this fund. And then we say, you know, we wanna do this extra event, we're gonna move $10,000 into the promotions line item. We're not really moving money, we're just moving we're just moving lines. So we don't have to go, if we need an extra $10,000 to run an event, we don't have to go to the board,
No,
to
you
the
do not.
township board, we can just go,
As
Well,
long as it's under
we-
5.6.
Under current
and-
parameters.
right now, I mean, your committees can't make decisions like that. They can make recommendations to
Right.
you as the board,
Yeah, I would
Right.
do that.
just so you.
but I would bring that to the board,
Exactly.
and I would say,
That's all you have
hey,
to
we
do.
wanna do a thing, you know.
We'd like to
We're
add
gonna
these.
close down
activities.
Grand River and have a party.
But this is
We need
where
$20,000.
I don't see anywhere where it's written how that goes. Like, at what level does she have to come back to the
But
board?
your bylaws say that the committees can only make recommendations to the board.
To this board.
Right,
Yeah.
to this board.
So this board does not approve committee budgets, so that's a problem.
No, but I mean activities and movement and spending money. You are approving every month your expenditures, right? And now you're gonna do it prospectively before the money gets spent, is my understanding, as opposed to after the fact. So if that committee decides, we wanna add some activities, they would be asking the board, is it okay?
So, yeah, okay. So, just going back then, if we have, if we do an activity and we say, we wanna do this thing, I propose it to the board, here's what we wanna do, I wanna approve an additional $10,000 for promotions. The board says, yes, we go do our thing. But in the same respect, what we're trying to do with the drain is we're like, we haven't done this drain, we don't foresee it, trying to get it off of the, so if it's just a number, why does that have to then go to the township board to get eliminated from our line item?
Yeah, if we want to reduce our budget, do we need to go to
I
the
was
board
the
to
one
approve
saying,
us to
if
reduce
you
our
don't wanna
budget?
spend your money, you don't have to go to the board
But
not to
wait,
spend
but
your
that's
money.
not what I'm asking. We're asking to reduce the budget because I am not comfortable with having a $5.6 million budget out there the way that we currently have financial policies.
But you don't,
No,
the
we're talking
reason
about
it didn't have to
$3
go is because
No,
it's not a line item budget. That was the whole point. That
Right.
line item for the
Exactly,
drain,
but can we, I'd like to
Yeah,
have a budget
the three.
around $2 million. Like, can we,
No, I wanna
Can we
finish
finish
just
her
about the drain. This is where I'm trying to, if we can add things that easily, then why can't we take them away that easily? I guess that's my bottom line.
so the
But,
3 million
but
is
the
not
whole
the
thing
drain.
with the 3 million, it's not the drain?
Not,
No,
no, if it's a fund budget.
because we had to go to the township board, but it's not gone to the township
Paula,
board.
if I can jump in and you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
If you're looking to add to the overall budget, like we approved a bottom line expense and a bottom line revenue. So if we're gonna spend less in this account and more over here, that's transferring it, but it's not affecting the bottom line. Removing that $3 million for the drain affects the bottom line. So that's where you need the township approval, because you're affecting the bottom line.
We were
to
approved for
shrink
the
your
fund.
overall, is that what
Right,
you're
'cause
saying?
we were.
Yes,
we
because it
were
would now
approved
say our expenses are only
The
gonna be
township,
2 million for the
approved
year.
5.6.
Okay, that
Can
makes
we,
sense.
So if we deviate
can we
off
again
that-
self-regulate ourselves and say, thank you for the 5.6 million, O Board of Trustees, but we would like instead to have a $2.6 million budget, and so we are gonna self-regulate and do that, and not have
Well,
this
Then
$3
the-
million that can be spent.
well, then is that going to be put into a capital reserve? Because it's
Correct.
DDA, it was
Yeah.
collected for a specific purpose for the DDA. So it's not like you can just give it back to the township, you wouldn't want to do that, you
No, it goes
can't,
into
you can't do
the
that.
fund budget.
Right,
So do we need Board of Trustees approval to reduce our budget and self-regulate and go from 5.6 to 2.6?
But why are we reducing it?
We're just putting that number in the.
yeah, you're just putting it in reserve then, and it's
Yes.
gonna be
It
invested.
still
Yeah.
belongs to the DDA.
It does
So
belong,
it's still
yes.
in our budget, but in our investment.
No, it's in our fund balance, it is not in our 2026 budget, is the difference.
But if
I think you're saying you don't want the
It's not-
responsibility
it's
of having that
unavailable.
extra $3 million. You don't want us to be able to transfer it around to other accounts. You
Right.
want it taken out of that designated in the fund balance, so we don't have access to it unless go back and ask again.
Correct.
And
Which-
change
does
it,
it make
or
more
we
sense for it to be in
self-regulate
Or
it,
you
so we
self-
could reduce the we could change our self-regulation.
And say this money's in reserve,
Yeah, I mean, I think so. It
But
sounds,
let it
a
earn money.
capital reserve or
if
whatever.
if I'm understanding it correctly, we got 5.6 approved for this calendar year, and that's what we have to spend. If we make an adjustment to that, whether it's up or down, we have to send it to the township for approval.
Only if it's up
Only
or our bottom line expenses are
Low.
low, like,
Right, so if we're removing 3 from that,
yes,
our
that would
effective
have to go
budget.
to the full board.
That's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
we're changing that bottom line number,
Yeah.
one way or the other, it would have to go. However, if I'm understanding it correctly, Deb, what we are within our bounds to do is say, we are going to take that $3 million line item that we had allocated on our breakdown for capital improvements, and we could vote as a DDA board to put those funds in reserve not to be spent without full
Which
approval.
is what we did.
Right. And you don't
Well,
need
that
board
was
approval.
We did not. We made a
We did
motion
not.
to remove it from our budget entirely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
which
don't
would
need
have
it.
triggered it going back to the DDA board, or I'm sorry, the township board.
Oh, yeah, we don't wanna do that.
So if we just, it's not sending the money, I'm saying the vote would go to the board
I don't even
because
know
it
where it
changed our
would go.
overall number.
We could create a, just as in this example, you could create a contingency line under the expenditures, probably like the last line of the expenditures, and just call it contingency. You could park that, let's say, $3 million down there. And that way, if you do want to do projects, you can take out a contingency into a project line item, or, or you could put it into just a general capital outlay, capital improvements line, kind of like a contingency line, just kind of a general line, so that
But we
you
can
can do
put
projects.
parameters
Still be
around
able
it.
to transfer.
Of course,
you
yeah.
just have to put the parameters down.
Rita, is money that is in a budget, to me, it's all in the same, like, the township has a ton of money, and it's all being invested. And so, these numbers are kind of hypothetical. Like, for us to have a $5.6 million budget isn't like someone took $5.6 million of the township money and it's not being invested, and now it's sitting in some little account somewhere.
Correct.
So, that doesn't impact investment. The only thing that impacts investment is spending money, and then you have less money out there.
Right.
That's being, so the investing amount does not change where the thing is located. It all is sitting out there being invested with a certain amount that's cash available for the township to fund.
I think, and if.
But I
do you have
don't
a
like your
question for me?
contingency
Sorry.
option, because I don't like the ability for the funds to be, like,
We could put parameters on that,
Okay.
limiting, like, per what Deb was saying, it sounds like you could put parameters on it that if there's 6 solar eclipses this month, then it can be spent. I'm just
Or call it
obviously
like future capital improvements.
Right.
As, it would be an expenditure line still, but, call it something like that, so that again, like, if you wanted to spend it within this year's budget or the next year, you've got, your board would move it out of there if you want to do any projects. That gives you the ability to do that. But kind of parks it under,
well,
in-
that's ineffective. It doesn't really do what I want to do. But that's okay. So we,
I think we have a question.
Yeah.
Is it budget related?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Just for context, I recognize almost everyone here except, I'm sorry, on the.
Oh, I'm Raina Emmons.
Raina.
I'm a CPA auditor.
Oh, auditor, okay, great, thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I get what you're saying, and now that we're putting policies, procedures in place to approve our budgets going forward, I think we could move.
yeah, we'll work on it with some more
Right.
stuff.
But thank you, that helps clarify, like, we've been trying to figure that out as we move
That
down.
is absolutely huge.
For a long
In terms
time.
of what roles do we play, what roles does the Board of Trustees play? And.
If you, for example, if we're talking about the 2027 budget, which hasn't
Yeah.
materialized yet, right? You could say, this board can propose a budget that's only $2 million, for example. I mean, your revenues are gonna be more than that, but, that means that if your expenditures, let's see, if you had revenues of $4 million and you had 2.5 of expenditures, for example, you had 1.5 would fall into your fund balance in that budget, basically.
Right.
That's what you're projecting.
Correct.
But you could do that. That limits your expenditures. But then if you had a big project coming in that year, you do have to go back to the township board to say, hey, we have this $3 million project now that just came up. Can we do that?
That's in effect giving yourself a line item that would drive you back.
Right, it would just add a slight delay, because we'd have to approve it, and then it'd have to wait till the
Right.
next month for the board to.
Right, but you could limit the 2027 budget to $2 million if that's what you wanted to do.
So
If you
we-
felt more comfortable with that.
So we could have a small contingency that is there that we can move around if needed, and keep everything else down to operating similar to what you were just talking about.
So Deb, just for clarification on some of that, so the DDA does not adopt or accept their budget until after the township board
Yeah.
approves it.
They,
So-
they propose it, they can have a final, what they want.
Yeah.
That's what goes to the board,
Yes,
but they can't adopt it until after the board formally adopts.
correct, but when we're talking about these limitations and everything else, correct me if I'm wrong, we're still proposing to the board the Excel document that has the fund budget on it. But this would be something for limitations that would be a policy for the board to limit that spending. Or when the DDA gets ready to spend it, when they adopt the budget, are they adopting those limitations each year? Or is it just a policy that you would recommend moving forward?
Well, that's gonna be up to the board, however they
Okay,
wanna do
So the
it.
board needs to determine.
You know, if they wanna continue with all these line items and stuff like that, they don't really have to do that. I understand that's how they've been doing it in the past, but they
Are you
really
guys,
don't
did you
have
catch
to.
that?
Yes,
Just clarify.
we do not need to be doing line item budget, we don't.
Well, that's not what the part I was talking about. I wanted to clarify with her that how it works right now, we make a recommendation for the budget to the township board. At their December meeting, they accept or adopt the budget. Then the DDA doesn't accept that until January. So I
That's
had
in the
asked,
statute, that can't happen until
Correct.
after the board adopts it.
so I asked for clarification on if we want to create some of these limiting procedures. Is that recommended to be a policy that affects it from here on into the unknowable? Or is it something that every year when we get ready to accept, we also, when we accept that budget, accept each limitations different each year? So the limitations are different each year, or is it a policy change that keeps going in perpetuity?
Well, I think that's.
I don't
That she said the board gets to decide on
Yeah,
that.
and I don't think we need to discuss that today.
No.
We want to discuss
No.
projects. I think we've gotten the answers that we needed answered, and we are going to be having a lot of attorney and auditor discussions as we develop our financial policies. So I will be in communication with you guys as we try to figure some of that stuff out.
Revisit it, is it working? I think that would make sense. Anything new like that, it would make more sense if we took it and actually evaluated it each year to make sure.
And just out of curiosity, on the procedural process here, if we're